Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesdays, where I share conversations that I have with successful women, all answering the same questions. And then we simply chat it up a bit. You get to be a fly on the wall in these conversations. Today, I get the honor of chatting with Khryzza Kelley. Khryzza is a people-first leader and the heart behind two purpose-driven brands. Not only that, she's a lifelong advocate for women and community development. I am not exaggerating when I say she inspires leaders worldwide to merge purpose with sustainable growth. You do not want to miss this one. Here's my chat with Khryzza Kelley.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, Khryzza. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Can you give me 2 minutes? I
Yes.
need to get my earrings.
Oh, yes, no problem. I'll pause everything.
Thank you. It's important for the earrings to be here. So I was like, wait a minute.
Yes, and I can't wait. We'll talk about those in a little bit, but they are how I know you to always be almost every time I see you. Pretty much every time I see you, you're wearing those. So
Yep, exactly.
important to go get them. Well, welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesdays. And I'm excited to have you here. And we are just going to dive right in and see where this conversation takes us.
Perfect.
Okay, so the first question is, what is quality of life to you?
Ooh, this is such a good question, and I was reflecting about this morning because this is such a great question. I think for me, quality of life means a lot of things. It depends on the area of my life. So, for example, in my personal life, quality of life means after 4 p.m. I don't have anything else. I can go sit on a couch, watch any kind of thing that I want to watch with my husband, cuddle with my big fat cat. I mean, that's in my personal life, that's what the quality of life looks like. But in the financial aspect of it, the quality of life also means that I'm debt free. I can invest on anything that I want to invest on. I can easily create or start a business. I can easily support the communities that I'm supporting, whether it's our fellow women entrepreneurs or artisans from my home country, the Philippines, or virtual assistants, or anything that I truly am passionate about. That's super important to me because I look at money as a tool to expand my impact. Also, in other aspects, socially, quality of life also means that I have a good support system from my friends, family, community. I have amazing women here in Southern California and all over the country who are as equally passionate as I am and are willing to lift each other as we all rise together. So it means a lot of things, but I think if I can sum it up in one word, it's really having the freedom to do things, but at the same time, freedom to choose, because not everybody has options. Especially, it depends on where you are in your privilege or resources. So freedom, I think, is a one way to sum it all up.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I love how you put it into three categories because the three categories that all funnel into the same answer.
Yeah.
And it looks different in each category. So you're being done, you said by 4, and I believe that was with your work day, right? So you
Yeah.
can cuddle with your big fat cat and your husband. It wasn't said the other way around. It was, and do the things that you want to do that make you feel good. That's what I hear you saying at the end of your day. And financially, I don't know that we've had anybody on here yet that has really talked about financially what that looks like for a quality of life. So this
Yeah.
is great. Can't wait to dive in a little bit more for that with that. And socially,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know that I really ever thought of it in that way. I've thought a bit about having your support people around you, and that's what that looks like. But socially, you went so much deeper into the normal, what we would consider a normal social structure.
Hmm.
Would you share a little bit more about what does this look like? How does this play out for you? And how do you live this form of quality of life in your life?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm born and raised in the Philippines, and I moved here when I was on my 20s. I already had my corporate career, I already graduated from the university, so moving as an adult to another country was really hard for me. And I'm already an extrovert, I'm already, I know I'm a leader, but it was still very hard because I have to uproot. my life. I have to learn new things, unlearn what I thought I know, relearn the things that I thought I know. But quality of life shows up to me right now. Couple of years in here in the United States, being married, having two businesses, quality of life means, I think, for me, both me and my husband, we work remotely. So in that level alone, we are able to really have that is that connection that we used to not have when one of us is working in the office, or one of us are working long hours. But right now we can do what we want, and I think we learned a bunch of things, like, okay, we're not going out on weekends because there's a lot of people in restaurants on weekends, so we go out on weekdays. Or we do meal prep or something like that, whatever works for us. So I love that dynamics, because my mom, my dad, and my husband's mom and dad, they were both divorced and separated. So as a married couple, we really said, we really want to make this work. We are very committed in making it work. And that's why I think my very first answer to quality of life is really having that time with my significant other. Um, Second lesson that I learned when I moved here is that as an adult, making friends is hard. So,
It
and
is, right? It
it's
can be.
hard. And as an entrepreneur, it's even harder, because you know the old adage that your first customer will always be the stranger. It's never gonna be your family. It's never gonna be your friends.
Yeah.
So it is really hard. But then I found amazing communities of women, who are really supporting each other in every step of the way in your business. And you have to kiss a lot of frogs for you to find your people. But you really, it is what it is, you don't know until you know. So that quality of life shows up in those relationships I have with those amazing communities as well. And then lastly is freedom. I think in the US, I think it's very normal for Americans to think about this, but to me, as a Filipino, we don't have any mortgage in the Philippines. We don't have concept of mortgage. You literally, you just buy a house, you pay for it every month in 30 years or something. But reverse mortgage, all that stuff, it's not common. We don't have a student debt. We don't have student loan in the Philippines, so that's also not common. And then another thing is that I realized when I moved here, we're very credit card dependent country.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to get lost here. It's so easy to get distracted by a lot of things here, that you really have to think for yourself, what do you really need? And to me, when it comes to quality of life financially, I want to be that free. I want to be as liquid as I could, because I'm an entrepreneur and I also want to do a lot of things in my life, personally and professionally. But there's also the concept of saving. We're in a very turbulent economic situation right now, where buying a house in Southern California is very difficult to do. So you really want to be strategic. So it
Yes.
shows up in a lot of ways, but I think it really just forces you to ask yourself, what exactly is it that you want, that you yearn for, that you're really gonna go to the ends of the world for you to know the answers.
Yes. And you bring up a point that I never really considered, and I imagine that a number of us who are born and raised here never consider. What do you mean there's no credit card debt? What do you mean there's no student loan debt? That is just, I mean, something that we wish and hope for, and but and so you bring a very well-rounded, robust perspective in what you're saying about what quality of life is, not having that tug of the all the extra things that we need to make sure that we're taking care of, or we think that we need, that
Yeah.
cause us a lower quality of life. We think they're going to, like, we need the
Yeah.
education, we need to buy the things, we need the house and all that. I call them the things,
Mhm.
but they don't necessarily lead to true quality of life.
No, no. And the funny thing too was, I recently learned the concept of decluttering, but not just the decluttering like cleaning up your desk or cleaning up your house, but really decluttering in terms of mental clutter, financial clutter, social clutter. And I think it really helped me also identify what is the quality of life that I want. Getting rid of all the things that I thought, like what you said, I thought I needed, but actually not. And when you try to the concept of decluttering, right, is if you really want something in your life, you have to make space for it. But it won't come to you if you're full, like you have a lot
Yeah.
of things going on. You have to make space for it. So to me, I'm looking at my place this morning. I'm like, okay, I need to declutter a bunch of things. If I want to buy something, I need to get rid of a lot. But it is what it is. You really have to make space for it, and you really have to have the right intention.
Well said. Very well said. All right. So next question is, where are you challenged to live out and incorporate the quality of life that you really desire?
I think it's the challenge of you have to decide every day the quality of life that you want. And it's so hard to be present every day. I mean, I'm looking, I think that was last week, and it was only Monday. And in my head, I'm like, oh crap, I thought it's Friday already. Like my day is just going really, really fast. And I feel like I'm just going through, a bunch of calendar invite to another calendar invite to another meeting to another event, and so on and so forth. So when the pace of your life is very fast, you become less present. When you have so many things going on, you become less present. um,
Hmm.
when you spread yourself too thin, you also become less present. So it makes it hard for me personally. When I become less present, it makes it hard for me to commit every single day. If I want to be debt free, what do I need to do today, tomorrow, the next day for me to stick to that quality of life? If I want to end my day by 4 p.m., so me and my husband can have an early night, spend the evening together, watch one of our favorite trash reality shows to numb our brain a little bit after a day of hard work, what do I need to do every single day? So I think that's the most challenging part. It's easy for me to visualize what I want, what my quality of life looks like, but to stick with it, commit to it, and really move the needle every day is really challenging.
Yes, it sure is. And especially when we're incorporating it as a new process or a new pattern, there is definitely, I always say it's like going to the gym. You don't learn to lift 200 pounds the first time you go there. It's a process and things need to build on each other.
Mhm.
And you said something that you mentioned something that made me think about my own experience too, with sometimes during busy seasons. My big thing is I'm all about quality of life, so I really need to practice what I preach. And it's very motivating.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
do
yeah.
that thing you're encouraging everybody else to do. But
Mhm.
I've been very much in this busy season. I'm about to travel, go to the East Coast for 10 days, and all the to-do list and
Mhm.
all the things that I'm thinking about really does take me out of the present moment. It really takes me, I realized I was, even something like going for a walk, just trying to focus on the trees or the sky was definitely a challenge because I'm thinking about all the ideas and okay, when I get back, I'm going to do this. And after that, I'm going to do this.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I join you in that challenge, especially as driven and high achieving women. We're creative. We're always thinking about okay, what's next? What can we
Mhm.
do next? What can we grow? What can we build?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I used to have that Calm, the meditation app, and I used to do like walk around the lake because we live by the lake. And they said it, feel the ground on your feet, and I'm like, oh, my brain is already on the other. Like it's just what continues
Yeah.
to work. But I think that's also a skill. Like it is a skill. It's
Yeah.
it's something that you need to practice. Like what you just said, you have to practice it if you want to be mindful, set the right intention. It is a skill, and to me that's one thing that I'm still developing too personally.
Yes. The places where, I think sometimes, oh, I could live on an island, live in a cabin where there's a nice lake and there's a dock at the end, and I just wake up and have my coffee in the cold morning and I'm fully present. I mean, that's more vacation than life. That's not reality for everyday life, especially when we are, you know, growing companies and being social and have relationships. So you,
Mhm.
you bring up I think a lot of people who are watching this are going to be able to relate to that challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely is. And I think the more your responsibilities are, the harder it is to really balance it all off. I used to think that I thrive when I do a lot of things. For some reason, my brain is functioning like, oh, is this the only job that we're gonna do? Nothing else? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
But again, when you spread yourself too thin, you really become less present. You become, and as a leader, as an entrepreneur, you become less strategic. You become less proactive, more reactive. You become less visionary because you're stuck in the weeds. You're stuck in the day to day. But quality of life also coming probably, coming from an entrepreneur, quality of life also means like the ability to look at your business from a day-to-day commitment, but also to a macro 10-year, 20-year, 30-year vision. It has to be both because your vision won't, it won't be achieved without the day-to-day decision, the day-to-day commitment to that quality of life, what that means for your business, what that means for your people.
Absolutely. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about what that looks like for you?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Recently, one of the lessons that I've learned as an entrepreneur is to really reframe my mindset on money. I grew up in the Philippines. It's a developing country. 55% of Filipino families, they see themselves as poor. That's around 14.4 million Filipino families. In the Filipino standard, I grew up in middle class, but probably in American standard, I grew up in poverty. So it's very difficult for me to look at money as not being the goal when you always have less.
Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, I have to reframe my mindset that it's not a goal, it's just a tool for me to achieve the bigger goal that I have, whether it's helping my community, helping my clients, creating a better life for both my clients and the people that I serve. So I really have to reframe my mindset on that. Earlier this year, last 3 months of 2024, we were able to triple the size of my company, Cowork. It's a virtual assistant consulting company. And because we did that, coming to 2025, we were like, you know what? Why not our goal, let's make it our goal that we're gonna quintuple our revenue. So times five, this 2025. So money being the goal. When money is your goal, you become anxious, you become pressured, you become disconnected to your purpose because every day you wake up like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make profit? Where am I going to get new clients? It's such an anxiety-inducing experience. And then when I reframe my mindset, I was like, you know what? Instead of me saying quintupling my revenue, I should just say quintupling the number of people that I am helping. Because that actually removes the pressure. It expands my impact and it gives me freedom because now if I'm going to say I'm going to multiply by five the number of people I'm helping, where can I find them? Where can I meet them? Like, how can I do that? Who can I partner with so we can multiply the people that we're helping? It's a very different conversation. And it also led to our moonshot, which is now helping 1 million CEOs scale with purpose by also helping 1 million Filipino remote professionals. So it expanded my impact, it found my freedom, and it built my moonshot just by reframing how I view money. So to me, a quality of life, yes, that free, yes, the ability to be liquid, but also the quality of life, which means to be able to look at money as a tool, not as a goal, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. As you're saying that, I'm thinking that's so powerful because, you know, as I know us in our American culture, there's
Mhm.
always another level. There's always a it's never enough experience. And so I've hit this goal now. The next, it's not enough until I get to the next goal. And
Mhm.
that's a beautiful way of reframing it because it really is about service. And that's one of the things that I have been really appreciative of you. And in the little bit that I've seen you and interact with you, you show up in service to others.
Mhm.
It just comes out of you, and it's very attractive and very inviting.
Mhm.
And I think that for whatever reason, whatever your life goals and dreams and hopes are for your life and your and humanity's life, I see you as someone who is really achieving what you have been setting out to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate that.
And yeah, so tell us a little bit about you just won an award.
Oh yes. I won I got awarded as the Emerging Leader of the Year of eWomen Network. So eWomen Network is the largest women in business organization, not only in the country but probably the whole world. They have 500,000 members. But that Emerging Leader Award is awarded for women who are, I think, between 22 and 29 years old, who are making an impact to their community, having their own business, and also, I think, really just exemplifying what it means to lead as a woman, especially as an entrepreneur. Because I used to work in corporate, and it's very different. It's a very different. I always joke that in corporate you have this solid ground because even if you're not gonna work, you have a monthly salary that you can fall by. Like
Solid.
that's your footing, right? But in business, they said, if you're an entrepreneur, there's no ceiling for you, for your profit. But to me, I was like, but there's also no footing either, because if
Yeah.
you're not gonna work your butt off, you're not gonna have any profit or revenue.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a very different experience. And I truly and genuinely believe that it's only for select people who are a little bit crazy and audacious enough to think that they can do it. But we are doing it. But if you're gonna do it, make sure that you're not alone in doing it because there's a lot of people, I think,
Absolutely.
like Chelsea here who's gonna help you. So just make sure to find those people.
Absolutely. And so share with me a little bit too about, where did your heart for this work come into play?
I was an advocate first before I became a corporate leader, before I became an entrepreneur. When I was in the Philippines, I was a student leader. I was the national chairperson of Student Council Alliance of the Philippines. Through that role, we were able to work with our lawmakers in the Philippines, the Senate, the House, and lobby for bills that are impacting the youth positively at the time. One of the things that we were able to lobby was mental health bill to become mental health law. So right now, over 100 million Filipinos have access to suicide hotline, counseling services, education about mental health, especially from our cultural background where we don't really talk about mental health that much, that openly. So that was really me before. I have always come from an advocate lens in terms of looking at things. So when 2020 happened during COVID, a lot of Filipinos became virtual assistants. A lot of businesses, at least in the Western world, the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, started to outsource more and more work to the Philippines. And then I realized that I have met a lot of Filipino virtual assistants. One person actually was a data analyst, and he was getting paid $1.50 an hour. He was a data analyst. And I was like, I can't even do your job, and you're just getting paid $1.50. Like, why is this okay? Why is nobody advocating for it? And if nobody's gonna do it, then I'm gonna do it. So that's basically how my first company got started, coming from my POV of being an advocate. And then 2025 happened. I love fashion. I love supporting women entrepreneurs, artisans. I love everything about the artisanal craft, the artisanal world. And then when I moved here, I remember I was Googling for handmade in Southeast Asia, the products that are handmade or handcrafted. And I came across this brand that they said that it was made by their bags were made by an indigenous tribe in the Philippines. And their bags cost $200. And the funny thing is, this indigenous tribe came very, very close to my hometown. So we're literally on the same island with this indigenous tribe. So I know them. I know who they are, what they are, where do they live, all the nitty-gritty details of it. And my friends, my family knows about them too. And I was in my head, I'm like, if you're really charging $200 a purse for a single purse, why is this tribe still living below poverty line in the Philippines?
Mm,
Because if that's the case, you're just using them for marketing, not really to make their lives better. And I think that's how the same formula, like why are we okay with it? Why is nobody advocating for it? If nobody's gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And that's how my second company was formed. So everything that I do is really just I don't do business because it's profitable. I mean, yes, that's a good to have, that's a must have as a business, but I do it because there is a need for it and nobody's really talking about it and
Mm.
nobody is really taking it seriously, especially in the outsourcing industry here in the United States. I mean, who are we to say that the wage is $1.50? Like it's crazy.
Right, exactly. And just because that is a wage in another country doesn't mean that it's a livable wage in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
inflation is everywhere, people.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
everywhere.
I connect with you in the way where I feel like I have an advocate heart and I consider myself an activist as well. And a lot of that is because of my life experience and what I've grown through and what I've healed from and what I've endured.
Mhm.
And so where does your advocate heart come from?
I think it's because I grew up with less. If you're not familiar with the social dynamics of the Philippines, we have what we call OFWs or overseas Filipino workers. These are Filipinos like my mom and my dad who were forced to leave the country, work overseas so that they can send money back home, so that they can send their kids like me to better schools, and so that their kids like me can have a better shot at life. That at the time, that was the best decision. That was the only option available for my mom. When she left, it was my mom who left first. When she left, I was a second grader. My younger sister was 1 year old. My youngest sister was 1 month old. So you can only imagine how painful it is for a mother like her to leave her 1 month old behind because there's simply no other options available. There was no better options available. She tried everything. She tried opening a business. She tried multiple businesses, but it was just not working. Few years later, my dad also left. My mom left for Dubai. My dad left for Qatar. And my story is very common to every Filipino household. Like every Filipino household has at least one overseas Filipino worker.
Mm.
But because of ethical and equitable outsourcing, my generation, which is millennials, Gen Z, and hopefully Gen Alpha when they enter the workforce, we are now rethinking about the concept of OFW because if you can get paid a livable, decent wage while staying at home, working from home, you don't have to leave your second grader, your 1 year old, your 1 month old behind because you can just stay with them. You can just live with them. You can go to any school event. You can be a parent, be present. So I think that is where I'm coming from. And I think it's hard for Americans, and I can see it whenever I explain the reality in the Philippines. That's why I always believe that I think every American should go out of the country at least once in their life.
Absolutely. At least once.
Please watch and visit a developing country. I mean, not talking about like a luxury vacation, but visit a developing
Right.
country because it's very, very different. And I think you're gonna have a much profound realization of, to me, going on a tangent here, to me, it really is just giving back to people who have less and really just giving voice to people who are not here, but the decisions that are being made about them are being made here. So that's where I'm coming from, having lived through that experience and seeing that, the conversations here are very different as if we know everything that is happening in
Yeah.
in that country.
Exactly. And I wonder, like, what the long-term effect are on your family dynamic and,
Oh,
the responsibilities that you had and if you wouldn't mind sharing more,
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
who took care of you when your mom and your dad were away, not even together, but in different countries separately.
hmm Oh yeah, I think nobody talks about that too. It's easy to imagine like, okay, your parents went overseas, so you probably have a bigger house than your neighbors, or you probably have better food on the table. My mom and my dad ended up being separated. My sisters, because they did not grow up with my parents, they have a very estranged relationship with them. Not not that it's not there, it's just that it's so difficult for them to communicate with my parents because they weren't there when they grew up. And I think for me, I'm still the sounding board from my sisters when they have something going on. I mean, I'm still responding to them as much as I could. They message me as much as they could. It's a very the impacts are even bigger than just the financial benefits.
Absolutely.
It's very, very different. So I think going back to when we talk about quality of life, that's not the quality of life I want for my kids.
Hmm.
So I think that's where everything is coming from. Like, they have this meme on the internet that millennial parents tend to overcompensate because of the things, and even not just millennial parents, but really like parents in general in this modern age, we tend to overcompensate of the things that we weren't able to enjoy before as kids. And I think that's where everything is coming from, having lived that challenging experience and seeing the impacts of it too.
Yes. I think that's a thread that goes through all generations where the baby boomers that had us Gen X's that, we were like, we're not doing that thing. And then our
Yeah,
kids are saying, well, we're not doing that thing. So it's just
exactly.
this whole evolution. I always tell, my kids, my daughter and my stepkids, like, you have to work really hard to not become us as parents, and it's worth it.
Mhm.
But take the good. There is good, and then also work on the things that you don't want. Yes, do the work, do the thing, heal the places, because
Mhm.
that's where your true self is able to shine through,
Mhm.
and also where the true healing can happen. And I know, from being someone that has gone through an estranged family myself, that it's when you don't have that bonding, in those early years, it's really, really challenging to even establish that, let alone reestablish that.
Mhm.
And that's why we're here. That's why I call this Let's Talk About It Tuesdays, because I want us to talk about these things that, that we all look like we are so well put together, because we are. We're getting our stuff done and we're succeeding, but there's so much behind the scenes that are, just unspoken. And I want to normalize us talking about the hardships that we've gone through, because most likely those hardships are the things that are giving us the passion to make the changes. And we are all more alike than we even have any kind of concepts.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm all about talking. And when you were like, I'm going to go on a tangent, my head, I was like, please go on a tangent.
Yeah,
That's what
definitely.
we're here for.
No, definitely, because I think sometimes we become so distracted by a lot of things that differentiates us from each other, right? I mean, we're in the age of social media algorithms, where if I like, let's say I like water lilies, and then next thing I know, I have a bunch of water lily posts on my newsfeed. But if I say, oh, I actually like cats, so all of the cats will be on my newsfeed. We become so like siloed as a society in general, not just here in this country, but in general, globally, we are becoming really siloed. And I think conversations like this are super important because we have so much more in common. We have similar struggles, we have similar problems, similar challenges, similar aspirations. And I think when we come from that point of view, we look at the world as full of possibilities instead of full of challenges and problems. And it's so easy to get sucked into the negative. Like
Yes.
it's so easy
Yes.
compared to being sucked into the positive. Like, the
Yes.
negative energy is just so powerful. So it will really take all of our might to not be sucked into that.
Yes. Yes. I always had this vision of us linking arms.
Yeah.
Like we're attracted to our people, and our people or their other people are attracted to other people. But I have this vision of us just linking arms and being stronger together and being able to achieve and accomplish so much more together. I mean, it might be kind of like airy fairy woo woo,
Yeah.
but if somebody doesn't envision it, like it's never going to happen. And I think a lot of us are really, and I know the work that you do is envisioning that as well. And I see you as linking arms with the people of your origin and the people of your, for lack of a better way of saying it, newer life
Yeah.
stage of this life, because we all go through different stages.
Mhm.
And I see you as someone who is definitely doing that, raising up the people that you know and love and are connected to, and bringing them along the journey with you. You're doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think we need to do more of it, right?
Absolutely.
Because I always, those parent-child conversation that back in my day I used to do this. And I was like, don't we want to have a better practice? Don't we want to have a better process? Don't we want to have a better, it's 2025, I think it's such a great, there was this ad that I think it was an ad by Cloud. They said that it's the best year to have a problem because you can easily solve it through AI. And that I was like, oh my God, that is such a funny thing. But I was like, that is so true. I mean, if you don't know something, you can ask ChatGPT or you can Google it. Or if you need connections, to be introduced to someone, I mean, go on LinkedIn, go on your networks,
Yeah.
go on your social media, like, hey, I'm wanting to do this. Anybody would like to partner with me on this? Like, we are more connected than ever.
Yes.
And it is such a privilege that we take for granted.
Yes, this is true. This is true. As we connect on Zoom.
Yeah, and like this. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. We get to be in the comfort of our own spaces and still connect. And I'm going to start wrapping us up, but I also am so grateful once more, just grateful for your time, grateful for your participation in this world, in our country, and just your voice too. And again, you are definitely a light that is very attractive in ways that I think are beyond you. So thank you for the work that you're doing and thank you for who you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. And thank you for everyone listening.
I'm going to go ahead and put your links of how to find you and what you do and all of that good stuff when I go ahead and finish this video.
Yeah.
And have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much, Chelsea. And you're also a light to so many. And I hope to see more of you in our events here in Southern California.
Me too.
Have a great day.
Next week, I speak with Ava and have probably the most laughs of any episode this season. I'll let you in on a little secret here. Full disclosure, this is my prima. This is Ava, and I'm really excited to have you here.
Your viewers are going to be like, dang, there's two of them on screen.
I know. I'm Chelsea. I'm here to help women build and incorporate quality of life into our everyday busy lives. See you next week.